As we progress down this spiritual path, the things that used to be important to us are not important to us anymore. We shift and change into a new identity, and the people that are around us, the things that we used to like to do, the foods we eat, the way that we live, it all changes. And it's like a natural growth from within us, coming from our heart, ultimately coming from the Supreme, giving us the intelligence to awaken to the reality of who we are. Because the truth is, at our core, you and I, all living entities, are full of bliss, full of knowledge, and eternal. And as this realization starts to awaken within your heart, things change for you. And as those things change, you start to see the world differently. This can be a little bit difficult as you unfold this in your mind and heart, because like you're still hanging on to those things that you held so dear, those things that you identified with. A new identity is emerging, which is your true identity. This is spiritual awakening, is realizing who you really are at the core. And what we want to create as spiritual seekers, what we want to create as this spiritual unfolding is taking place within us, is a environment for success. So we start to associate and hang out with new people. We start to eat different types of foods. We start to read different types of books. We stop watching those movies, playing those video games, seeking after those outward ideas of success that have been so ingrained in us. I know for myself personally, it's like I made this huge shift from trying to acquire and be so ambitious in life and try to be successful in business and in relationships, which was never, what I thought it was going to be, even if I did gain some little sense of success. But I shifted from that to like gaining and wanting knowledge, spiritual knowledge. Once the fire like lit within me, I just like dove so deeply into the spiritual knowledge, and it like as you go deeper and as I went deeper, it just grows and grows, and as it grows, that identity that we know ourselves as starts to fall away. And this identity that you knew yourself as, this Dave or Bob or Jim or Sarah, this is material. The spiritual identity, the eternal identity, who you were before you came into this body and who you'll be after you leave this body, is what we're trying to uncover. If you can find your inspiration, which if you're watching this channel, you've already started to come into some understanding of spiritual awakening. And as you follow that little spark within you and fan that spark, the inspiration and the guidance will be given to you by Krishna. All you have to do is show some effort, keep going, keep moving down the path, and let go of the identity of who you knew yourself as. Because if you continue to hold on to that identity, those little things, the shows you watch, the music that you listen to, the style that you had, all of those things were created by your material mind. So what we want to do is let go of those identifications and create a spiritual identity. Allow your spiritual identity to arise within yourself. And it really is within you and Krishna. So all the people around you will look at you differently. They'll think you're weird. They won't know how to interact with you. They'll tell you that you're, crazy. You joined a cult. You're this, you're that. But ultimately, those people don't matter when it comes to your own internal happiness and your own internal direction that you're getting from Krishna. So what matters is what's happening within you and how you can cultivate that. Because it's like in the beginning, it's like a little seed that's growing, and it's got a little creeper that's coming out of the ground, and it's very fragile, so it needs to be protected. Eventually your spiritual growth will grow into a full strong tree that no one can hurt or damage. But in the beginning, we have to be very careful in our spiritual growth that we're not damaged, because that identity of who we were is very strong. And what we are striving for is breaking that identification, that false ego, which is described as, in Sanskrit, it's called the ahankar, which means the identification, the false identification we have with the mind and the body. And that shows up in all of the identifications we have in this material world. So the new identity, which in essence, it's not really new, it's who you really are, that's been covered over, is revealed to you in small doses in the beginning. This is spiritual awakening. And as that spiritual awakening grows, as that little spark of knowledge, of wisdom in spiritual life starts to arise within you, you get more inspiration, you get guided, you get directed. Krishna puts those people and those things in place that allow for you to come down that path if you're sincere and you're hungry for the knowledge. As this process was unfolding in my life, I had to let go. I did let go of so many things, and I'm still in the process of letting go of so many things, and a lot of them are subtle. Some are easier to see than others. Like we see the identity of, for example, for myself, I was into jiu-jitsu and mixed martial arts, and this was my identity. This was who I was, and I felt like I had, all my confidence and all my strength was wrapped up in this identification as a jiu-jitsu person and this and that. But I realized, like, who created that? This is all a temporary idea. And yeah, jiu-jitsu is fine, but it's not the core identification of my life. And it doesn't ultimately bring me any real long-lasting happiness. Ultimately, what we're seeking for is real happiness that can guide us into the true purpose of our life, not just make money, sleep, eat, defend, mate. This is not the true purpose of our life. The true purpose of our life is to attain spiritual awakening. And if we can center our heart and center our mind on that spiritual awakening process and identify with that, then we can move down that path and we can actually become glorious and great in our true selves. Not in some version of ourselves that we identified with, that we made up, that the world positioned us as, that we, as a child, came up with. I have to be this way or that way so that I can, feel good about myself, or hide this or hide that. Like, lead with our hearts. Let Krishna guide us from within our hearts and position ourselves for the mercy of Krishna. This is really a process of what's called Chaito Darpana Marjanam. That's Sanskrit. To the cleansing of the heart, because we're contaminated from so many lifetimes of this identification. And the process to break free of that is such a simple process. So as this is opening up within you, as this new process of spirituality and awakening is open within your heart and mind, to progress it forward, you chant Hare Krishna. You chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is called the Maha Mantra. The Maha Mantra is the process in this age that we're in right now, this very difficult time, the process of cleansing the heart to disconnect and deactivate the identification of the mind and the body with our true soul. So by chanting this mantra, we can become free. And we can actually find our true purpose. And that's the goal here, to find our true purpose, to find real happiness, to break free from the anxiety and the fear and the sadness that we've been feeling for so long. Hopefully this video gave you some guidance. Let go of those identifications that you've made up in your mind and body. Chant Hare Krishna. Study the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Learn from spiritually realized teachers. Recognize that it's a transition. Let your true self come out. Let your true purpose awaken within your heart. Find inspiration in the spiritual teachings. Do not be fooled by what other people are saying to you that have no idea in relation to spiritual knowledge. Do not be fooled by your own mind dragging you back into the identification with who you think yourself to be, with that comfortable identity that somehow has made you survive in this material world. You will survive as a spiritual aspirant. Krishna will give you everything that you need. Move forward. Chant Hare Krishna. Let that spiritual awakening arise within your heart. And I'll see you in the next video.